With karate, I'll kick your ass. Here to Tiananmen Square. Oh yeah, motherfucker, I'm gonna kick your fucking dairy hair, yeah. You broke the rules. Now I pull out all your
this past weekend.
Alright, slow down. Who's Kevin and Bean?
Kevin and Bean on the KROQ. They do the
KROQ?
morning radio show. It's radio, Anthony.
Like us.
Well, sort of. They do put it in podcast form. That's how I listen, because I'm not going to listen to the radio all day. Fuck that.
Kevin and Bean, radio hosts.
Yeah, you know they've been going for like 25 fucking years or something.
And I'll assure everyone that this podcast probably isn't going to go for 25 years.
Well, we can be optimistic and hope for it.
20.
If they're still
on for 20.
If they're still on the internet by that time, who knows?
We'll just be shouting into people's ears directly.
In the fall of civilization, post-apocalyptic podcasting. Just,
do you want to listen to me and my friend talk about stuff?
No, I'm looking for food, god damn it.
Can you talk about where to find food?
40 years ago, I had this really awesome sandwich.
Let me tell you anything about sandwiches.
Where was I? Okay,
before the apocalypse.
Because Kevin and Bean, their comedy morning show, they're all about comedy. Well, they're about horrible comedy. That's why I like them, I guess, because they don't have very high standards for the show.
Sounds right at home for morning radio.
Yeah, totally.
I wish I had a cowbell just for this segment. Woohoo!
And you need like a reggaeton horn too.
I'll edit it in. Yeah, the stuttering air horn.
God, that's annoying.
I'm editing all that stuff in.
Have fun with that. Every April, they put on a comedy show. They've been doing it for like 7 years now, apparently. But me and Lena, we've gone the past 3 years in a row. I think it's getting progressively more awesome because they keep getting like better comedians. First time we went, we saw like Bill Burr. Pretty sure Brad Williams was there, and Jay Moore. In fact,
That's pretty impressive.
I think Jay Moore was there. Has been on all three of them that we've seen. Okay, so they do this comedy show every April, and it's for charity. All the comedians, they don't get paid, and all the 100% of the ticket price money goes to Cedars-Sinai Hospital and for some children's hospital. I probably should have looked that up. A really good cause. And it's really awesome.
Think of the children.
Yeah. And they get pretty big name comedians, like I said. Like, Bill Burr's pretty big. They were supposed to get Mark Maron last year, but he dropped out, and they had Reggie Watts.
What a Mark Maron move.
Yeah, he's too big time with his new TV show.
Even though I didn't even know who he was until he was on Norm Macdonald.
Really? When was that?
Yeah, like I had never seen
like
him
last
in anything.
year?
Like I had never seen his stand-up or anything.
Really? I think he had a HBO special, but that was like in the 90s. It's pretty fucking old. He's been doing comedy a long time. It sucks for Reggie Watts, though. I love Reggie Watts because of Comedy Bang Bang and all that. He does some crazy ass shit. Do you know about Reggie Watts?
I heard of him.
Yeah, he goes on there with his track thing, and he'll start like beatboxing, and then like he'll loop that as a track, and then he'll do like a different sound, loop that, and then he starts singing. He sings really good. He has a good voice. But like he always tends to sing like really high pitch and like it's soulful like R&B, but like he just sounds funny the way he's singing it too. And if he throws in raps, it's just nonsense. It's brilliant. It's the best thing ever. He's actually been on that podcast I listened to, Radio Lab. They did like a concert. And it was really fucking awesome. But for some reason, people didn't like him last year. Like they weren't down. I guess.
What, were you like the only person like laughing and clapping? It was just
most likely. It's a really stuffy crowd.
You tell him, Reggie.
Well, I think they didn't like it. When he came out, he was doing this thing, like he had the microphone in his pocket, and he was like talking to his hand. He did that for like a good 2 minutes. Some people were laughing, people were yelling, like, we can't hear you! Like, they didn't fucking get the joke. Like,
oh, were they too far back? Like, they didn't even know what was happening? Something going on with his mind!
Hey, We were pretty far
what
back.
if, like, the producer backstage was like, stretch it out, man. It's like, I only got a 25-minute set. You gotta make it 30 minutes, man. I don't know how you're gonna do it.
I just fuck with them for a while. The first time we went, we saw them. They played at the Gibson Amphitheater up in Universal, but that was the last time they played there. Last year and this year they did it at the Shrine Auditorium in LA. You ever been there?
Maybe.
It looks like a huge theater, and like there's this giant fucking chandelier thing in the middle. It's really ominous looking. There's a lot of detail. It looks really cool, but like I guess it's good for comedy. It's got like stadium seating and it's a big old stage. And, like,
The venue wasn't funny enough?
no.
And you want clown paintings and shit?
Well, I'm used to like going to like the Ice House in Pasadena. It's like that's a comedy club.
Oh, it's like a
It's
pure
really,
comedy club?
yeah, it's really intimate. I haven't gone to too many comedy concerts where it's like a big thing, so it's like kind of weird.
Oh, so you don't go to two-story comedy halls?
Yeah. Well, what do you think? I think comedy is supposed to be intimate. 200, maybe 300 people in the audience. That's when I think it's the best, because if you're just playing to a huge crowd, you gotta go more broad with the jokes and...
Well, I grew up watching Comedy Central Presents, so, you know, like I always thought that was like a standard audience.
They do big shows on that one.
Stadium-sized comedy shows like Dane Cook would do? Ugh.
Yeah.
What are you even doing?
That's not right. It's too big.
How could one... Well, it's just a testament to how bad Dane Cook is, I think. That he could get that many people there.
Yeah, I don't really understand.
Like, I think after you get enough fans in comedy, it's like inverse. Like, you have to be less funny to get even more fans than that.
Well, yeah, because you have to have a very broad sense of humor. You have to get that wide.
But I think most people, they don't spend a lot of time thinking about jokes like we do. They're just like, hey, I get that joke.
Yeah.
Like, even though I get it because I've heard it before, I still get it, and that counts.
Oh, yeah, laugh. Yeah.
That's the part where I laugh.
Yeah.
Alright, so who was on it this year?
They did this thing where they wanted someone inexperienced to open the shows.
They had a baby.
No. They had a whole, I think it was a whole month before the show. They were talking, they said they wanted people to submit their home videos of them doing jokes. And like,
It can't end well.
they wanted listeners to vote for who they wanted to open the show. But the only submissions they got was pretty much from comedians in the area who are just not well known. All the submissions they got were like YouTube videos of them in clubs or and doing open mics or something. Mm-hmm. And a lot of them had pretty decent stuff. I could tell like it wasn't what they wanted, but it ended up working out. Like they had this guy, the guy who won, his name was Eddie Pence, and he came out, got into it pretty quick, and his jokes were pretty good. He got decent laughs. His jokes weren't very memorable. He didn't have anything poignant to say, but it was funny. You could tell he's been doing it for at least a few years, which is, I think Kevin and me were looking for someone just brand new to comedy and just like go out and make a fool of themselves. They bring out that giant hook, take them off stage. No, that didn't happen. After him, they had Gabriel Iglesias. You know Gabriel Iglesias.
Yeah.
Fluffy. He came out. The first thing I noticed when he came out, he's not that fluffy anymore. He's still pretty big, but he's losing weight, so he's
Defluffed.
a little defluffed. Yeah, it was pretty good though. They were talking to him like the Friday before because it was on Saturday. He was talking about how that night he opened the show because after his set there, he was gonna have to run out and go to an airport and fly to Vegas and do another set somewhere in Vegas. Pretty big time.
Is he gonna do a set on the airplane too?
For the pilots. Crack up so much they crash. Yeah. Everyone got like 20 minutes, but I think he did like half an hour. He started talking about bathrooms and how everything's automated now. They're just taking the power away from us. Eventually you're going to see the little red dot on the toilet paper, and you're going to remember me. You have to sit there, wave like a dumbass, trying to get your toilet paper. You just get one sheet. That was pretty funny. And of course he talked about food. He talked about taco trucks and stuff, because that's his thing, talk about food.
Right, what you know.
Yeah. And after him was this guy, Adam Ray. Do you know what Adam Ray is?
Never heard of him.
He does a podcast with Brad Williams.
Never heard of him.
Well, he's in the movie The Heat for like one scene, I think. But he's a pretty good comedian. Not much I can say about him, I guess. And after him was Jay Moore. Jay Moore was there again, and God, the past few times I've seen Jay Moore, you can just totally tell, like, he's playing to his crowd. He has his crowd, you know, he has a radio show now too.
So there's
it's sports
people
talk.
like specifically there just for Jay Moore?
A certain crowd. Well, like, I've been a fan of Jay Moore because Last Comic Standing, he started that show. I'm pretty sure I've seen some of his comedy elsewhere. Ever since he let his wife start writing for him, it's just like, I don't know.
Well, he's like, have you ever noticed how men are like...
He likes to talk about how his wife is like the man in the relationship. Like, she always just wants to fuck. And I'm the one going, can we cuddle or something? But you know, his thing is like impressions too. But he didn't fucking do Christopher Walken. That's usually his closer, right? Mm-hmm. It's like the one everybody goes crazy for, but he didn't even do it. He came out, he did a little bit of Tracy Morgan, because that's his thing too. That was pretty much it. The whole time he was talking about rock stars. Like, he did his Eddie Vedder. He was talking about Eddie Vedder and Pearl Jam, and then he did his Mick Jagger. I don't know. I can't get into his comedy anymore. I can't put my finger on it with why he's been sucking. And this year they had a chick for the first time. Eliza Schlesinger. God, her fucking name's hard to say. I think she was on, like, what's the thing on Comedy Central? They have several comedians come out.
Like Julian Bland?
No, that was the old one. No, she was on, like, a new...
Comedy Remix.
No.
That was super old, too.
They have, like, a newer form of it. Like, well, I remember seeing her on Comedy Central, too. She was funny, but, well, she's a girl, so it's like her whole thing's she's talking about girls the whole time. She was funny, and I don't want to hold that against her just because I'm a guy, and I know, you know, of course that's going to stick out to me, because I'm not going to be able to relate. She did have some good things to say, like about guys. She had this joke about how, like, all women's products, just to push women to be sexual, be more attractive, but, like, what if guys had something that, like, pushed them in a negative way? Something to do with, like, getting a better job and not living with 4 guys in West Hollywood. She kept doing this thing, too, where, like, she talked about, like, dumb chicks, and she'd do, like, a sheep. Man, like...
I just laugh at that.
Yeah. Like, yeah, I guess you had to be there, too, but it was pretty funny. And she just had a new album out. I'd probably buy the album. Okay, so after Eliza was Brad Williams. Mm. I don't blame you for not knowing who he is, because he basically came up through Kevin and Bean's show. He went to their event, the Miss Double December contest, like 4 or 5 years ago. I guess he...
Oh, like Double December?
Yeah.
Radio humor.
Yeah, that's the ththing. When they announced the winner of whatever contest it was, he was there. He said he looked at Kevin and he's like, is it alright if I go up and hump her leg? Well, because he's a midget, like, sure. And of course that was hilarious because midget humping somebody's leg. Everybody went crazy. I guess through that they found out he was a comedian, and so, like, he blew up, and he's been doing the April Foolishness ever since. And, like, he apparently killed at the show, and because Jay Moore was there, he said, like, okay, everybody knows, you know, we're playing for second. It's because Brad Williams killed it. And then the first year we went, it was like he had been challenging Brad Williams to see, like, who would have a better set. That show, Brad Williams went before Jay Moore, and he ended up dancing to some stupid hip-hop song. But, like, of course, midget dancing, it's hilarious. He actually had moves for, you know, being a little guy. He fucking...
I think Jay Moore was, like, backstage, like, the whole crowd's clapping as he's dancing to some kind of song. I mean, like,
yeah,
Jay Moore's notes, it's like, be shorter.
No. I did imagine him, though, like, being backstage, like, come on! Really? I gotta do a jig for the crowd just to win laughs now. Yeah, he definitely did not, like, have the set of the night, though. And Brad Williams is funny, though, because, like, he likes to talk about how when he was young, his dad would, like, pick on him. He said that would help him, you know, against bullies. After Brad Williams was Ralphie May. I'm pretty sure he's been on Comedy Central. I've seen a little bit of him, and I was kind of familiar with his stuff, but not too much. But when he came out, okay, because he came out after Brad Williams, of course he was talking about it. He did, like, 10 fucking minutes on midgets, and it killed. I think he had the best set of the night. It was pretty brutal. He talked about how, like, he met Brad Williams before, and how, like, he was calling him a midget because Brad Williams says midget. He likes to piss off the little people community by saying it. And Ralphie May talked about it, and then like the midget community went after him. They're like sending him hate mail and everything. And one of his best lines, I fucking loved it. Like, "You got some balls, midget." It's just the way he said it. He has like a southern voice, so like his inflection on it is hilarious. And then he did a joke about like going to a gay wedding. It was just fucking insane. And he talked about eating pussy and how guys nowadays, they don't know how good they have it. Some 19-year-old guys these days don't even know that shit comes with hair on it. I'm like, what? It was pretty good. Lena was there too, and she was dying. He fucking killed it. He was really good. So good that we're probably gonna go see him whenever he comes out here again. Because he's fucking a maniac. Oh my god. I think my fucking sides were sore till Monday from laughing at him. Like, seriously. I've never had that happen before. My sides were literally sore from laughing. It was crazy. But then, Tenacious D closed the show. They were the headliners.
Dang,
right?
This is like an all-day show.
Oh, well, it went for 3 hours. It's pretty fucking good. We got our money's worth. I was kind of hoping Tenacious D would like have a full band, but not, because they're not getting paid. You know.
They just had their guitars.
Yeah, it was just Kyle and Jack. Should I run through the set list?
Go for it.
Yeah, so, like, they came out. They opened with Tribute. It's fucking awesome. And then they played Pick of Destiny, Rise of Phoenix from their latest album. Have you heard the latest album?
I've only heard their first one.
After Rise of the Phoenix, they played Kickapoo, and they played Low Hanging Fruit. And after that one, they did a shtick where like Kyle did something and Jack got mad at him towards the back of the stage, so they weren't close to the mic, so you couldn't hear him. And like he's like gesturing, you know, they're arguing, whatever. And that's when Kyle leaves, quit the band, and he starts playing "Dude, I Totally Miss You." And then Kyle comes back, and he finishes that song with them. And then they play Kyle Quit the Band. After that, Jack Black brought out the saxoboom. Have you heard of the saxoboom?
Yeah.
That fucking toy. It sounded pretty good, too, when they were playing it. It
sounds like he's getting down, right?
Yeah. It was fucking hilarious. They had some good beats on it. The whole time they're playing, like, they have a, quote, roadie. But it's just this guy coming out doing stuff for Jack. Like, after the first, what was it, like 2 or 3 songs, the guy comes out with a shirt for him, and Jack takes off his shirt, and, like, chicks went crazy. It's weird. His first shirt, it was black, and it just had, like, a wolf on it. And so, like, he takes off his shirt, and when he puts on the new shirt, it's gray or white or something, and it's just a wolf. He just changed his shirt for the same shirt, just a different color. He doesn't even bring it up until after the saxophone, they did the song Roadie, because he's talking about the roadie guy. Before they did Roadie, the guy came out again, and he changed his shirt again. It was still the same shirt, just another color. And they closed out the show with Fuck Her Gently. Pretty badass. I was really happy that I got to see Tenacious D once.
Yeah, that sounds pretty rad.
That was pretty badass. One of the more memorable Kevin being April Foolishness for me.
Until next year.
Until next year. I should drag you to it next year.
Screaming?
Yeah. And hemorrhaging money. Because the tickets are like $80, I think.
Dang.
But it's for a good cause, Anthony.
Not if it's coming out of my wallet.
I think I might enjoy it better if I was drinking like everybody else. The fucking drinks are expensive. And because of my medication, I can't drink right now, so I just had to sit there and enjoy it like a goober. No, that was a good show. I really
Now I pull out all your pubic hair. You motherfucker. You motherfucker.